Hello and welcome to the Connection Compass podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Louise Evans. For more information about my work, please visit Seasonally Guided. The details are in the show notes. Today is a solo episode and I'm reflecting on season 6 and all that I've been up to and what's to come, and also bridging series 6 with series 7. Hello there, it's Andrea here, and we have another series of the Connection Compass podcast under our belt. I feel so much gratitude and joy for the podcast. I absolutely love doing it. And sometimes when I finished a podcast interview with a guest and when I press that publish button on Alitu, and I just smile inside. I feel so happy. And I think it's because I was having a conversation with one of our guests coming up in series 7 called Sean Grant, and we're talking about how when we're sensitive or if we're more aligned with our soul, spiritual selves, that sometimes it can feel quite isolating and people don't always get you. And the type of conversations that I'm having on the podcast, the ones that I've always craved for. So it's just a joy. In series 7, we have some amazing guests coming up. So we've got Sean Grant, who I've just talked about. We have so far Ashley Mondor, who's been on the podcast a few times before. We just had a conversation about our worlds, and it's a really nice episode to listen to. It's very much has Ashley and I's energy in it, in the fact that it's deep, it's reflective. And then we have Annette Williams, who is a hypnotherapist, has a practice, but was a executive BBC producer for 38 years. That's a great conversation as well, and talking about the inspiration and intention behind her book, Step Into Your Spotlight. So it's all very exciting because there's more to come as well. So what have I been up to while series 6 has been going out there? The first thing I've been doing is I've been setting up a Kajabi site called Seasonally Guided. And as often with these things, the technological side of it can send you over the edge a little bit, but with a bit of time and patience and reflection and seeking the help that you need, you can usually work it out. And that has definitely been true for me. What the Seasonally Kajabi is about, obviously, I've created this body of work called the Connection Compass Framework, which is made up of 2 compasses. Now, the first 2 points on the inner compass and the outer compass are about the connection with ourselves and connection with nature. And Seasonally Guided relates to those 2 points. So it's all about the connection with ourselves and connection with nature. So on there, you have seasonal soul stories, meditation, and that is going to be some yoga practice on there as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing it all come together. Now, I have to be honest, I have been procrastinating a little bit about the yoga, and I think partly it's because I haven't been in that space to feel like I can just sit down, get all the tech set up, and really think through about what I'm going to do. So that's going to change. I'm going to make sure that that's available in the near coming future, even if it's just one to start off with. Going to get that done. The other thing that is on the Kajabi is seasonal soul stories. Now, last year on Substack, I wrote a series of letters called Letters to Your Soul. And they were deep, they were reflective. I created them out of ritual, and I wanted to do something else with them or something similar and mix it with the seasons. So I came up with seasonal soul stories. So there's just one available on the Seasonally Guided at the moment. And each story has an archetype. It's linked to the moon cycles. Even though I've wrote them for a specific month with the new moon and the full moon in mind and the energies of that, obviously there are themes that then come out of that. So when you go and have a look, it might say this is perfect for March, but actually it's also perfect if you're feeling a little bit stuck, if you're not really sure, if you want to take a step back and you want to give yourself some time and work out what's a priority for you, so you don't have to do it necessarily in March or February. You can do it any time of year for when you feel called to, when the situation and that theme feels relevant for you. So the February soul story is about Flora. And Flora is in a place of feeling stuck and not really sure what to do. And she's ignoring her deepest heart desires and her wishes. So there's a meditation that takes you through, and then there are some reflective questions as well. And I'm doing more of them. So arrogantly, I thought that I would write one every month, but no. So the one for March has come much slower. So it's almost like I've had to move through the month before I've got it together, noticing what's happening to me internally, things that are happening around me, taking into the moon cycles. So instead of being that energy of let's get this done, it's like, let's see how this unfolds. Let's see how this emerges, and to trust the process, to surrender, be in a place of neutrality, and just allow it to reveal itself for what it wants to be. So that will be the second soul story coming up. And will be available soon as I've put it together, because it's been a really, really busy time. And one of the things I'm doing at the moment is, obviously, I've been training in somatic yoga, and I'm due to submit some work for assessment. So I've been in the process of preparing that as well. Somatic yoga is about your introperception of yourself and how something feels to you. And it's unique to you. So somatic yoga isn't something you can rush. You have to really feel into the movements and how they work for you, and what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And so you have to take your time to feel into it. I suppose with any yoga practice, some days it feels really relaxing, some days it feels really turbulent. Not all yoga practices are the same. It's just how we are on a particular day or time of day. I tend to practice somatic yoga in the evening before bed. The ones that are based on the ground, there's a lot of rolling around on the floor in somatic yoga. Those ones in the evening I find really gentle and really relaxing, and they really do take me out of that sympathetic mode and put me into a parasympathetic state and ready for sleep. Now, any practices that take me up off the floor, I find far too strong for the evening. It feels too much. But you don't know this without practicing, without feeling it and looking inwards to how you are in that moment of practice. So there's a lot of surrender, trust, and neutrality there, and being open to how practice feels for you. So yeah, it's been quite interesting, and I'm finding that these themes of surrender, trust, neutrality, staying grounded when there's chaos and conflict, and allowing things to just flow is really coming up time and time again in life at the moment. And I really felt that these themes were present amongst the stories with the guests that we had in series 6. And yeah, it's something that I've had to really lean into. I am usually someone that's very hyper independent, likes to get things done, likes to take action. It's really been a whole new learning around being a very different way and not being in control all the time and allowing things to unfold. Doesn't mean to say that you can't take action, but taking action out without attachment. So taking action and not seeing the result. This is how exactly it's going to be. And if it's not going to be like this, then it's failed. So moving away from that and just allowing things to unfold. It's definitely been a new way of being for me. I also took part in an international Women's Day with some international nurses in March, which was a really beautiful event full of community and ritual. And I was so nervous. I mean, for a long time, I've stood up and I spoke publicly, and I've taken part in conferences and facilitated workshops, and I've always felt confident, but in this new territory of connection, and it just feels a little nerve-wracking for me. But one of the ways that I've been overcoming that is I've been doing a 100-day public speaking challenge on TikTok, and it's really changed things for me. It's showing up really raw, and sometimes I'm just about to go to bed or I've just got up in the morning and I just speak for a couple of minutes of something that's in my mind. We've covered lots of different topics. We've done poetry. I've talked about the podcast guests, and I talked about yoga and why it's important to me. I've talked about the seasonal soul stories. I've talked about living a seasonally guided life. And so it's really pushed me out of my comfort zone to just turn up however I am. Some days I've even just got out of the bath. I mean, I've put some clothes on before I've done it, but it's just turning up and being completely authentic, completely raw. And it's been good for me. I've also, last Sunday, I did an incredible retreat with Calming Minds and Soothing Souls. Shemaine Robinson leads those retreats, and she's been on the podcast before. You may have remembered her last year. I think it was last summer. Yes, it was. And we took part in a retreat at the Chatham Farm Retreat. A beautiful venue. I was there to open and close the day with yoga, somatic yoga, and also the closing ceremony. I had poetry and a ritual to do at the end, and I was also there to provide Reiki sessions as well. And it was just amazing. I was really happy, just really happy in this space, just doing something that I really enjoyed and something that I haven't done for ages. And then something strange happened. Shemaine said it'd be really ideal. Wouldn't it be good if we had another massage therapist? And I was like, oh, I'm trained in massage therapy, something I'd completely forgotten about because it was quite so long ago. And so I spent the whole day doing Reiki and massage, and it was just a joy. It was just a joy. And definitely going to do more of that in the future. Through the month, I've also taken a step back and chosen not to rush around so much. And I had a couple of weeks, astrologically, we had the Mercury retrograde, we had eclipse season, and the energies felt quite intense. And I was just exhausted. And rather than push through, I took a couple of weeks where I just came home after work and rested and ate good food, didn't particularly go anywhere. We had a couple of nice days as well, and I just spent some time in the garden, started tidying it up for spring, planted some seeds, and I'm starting to feel energetically a lot stronger. And that's why it's so important to have a practice where you're tuning into your inner self and your inner needs so that you're aware of that energy of where you are at a given time. Because if I'd have pushed through doing everything that I normally do when I was feeling so tired and energetically low, I could have ended up quite poorly. So it's better to notice than not notice at all, because then you can take action for your needs and what you need at a given time. I, like a lot of people, I also watched the Louis Theroux documentary about the manosphere. Now, I had to say, I'm not surprised by that behavior that was portrayed in that documentary. I watched it with a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach, a thud in the pit of my stomach, because I recognize that that behavior, that way of being isn't new. And I definitely recognize it from the dating scene 14 years ago. Certainly that attitude, that behavior was definitely present there then. Perhaps not so much, just subtle beginnings of it. And it was one of the reasons why I moved away from the dating field. It did not feel good. It didn't feel comfortable. And I suppose I'm of the belief that the behavior isn't good of those men and the thought processes, but there are deeper layers to it as well. So I don't accept it's just about toxicity. There are lots of different layers, mentally and emotionally, sense of belonging, and why they feel they need to behave in that way. At the time on the dating scene, I remember speaking to men about their experiences of dating, and some of them, their experiences weren't particularly nice either. So I'm not into the business of pitting men against women here. I'm more interested in finding solutions and what we can do, and or encouraging how we can improve that situation. How can we make things better for everyone? But certainly I know that men were experiencing some things as well. They were experiencing things that weren't very nice. So I don't just think it's about looking at men's behavior, but I think it's also about looking at women's behavior as well. I know that might feel really uncomfortable, but I think there are issues on both sides that need addressing, and perhaps from a place of compassion and understanding, because it's only then that we start to find solutions and a way forwards. So we have series 7 starting next week. And I think we shall start with the episode with Ashley Mondor, because we had Philip Elisa last week, who is Scorpio rising. I am Scorpio moon and Ashley is Scorpio sun. So you've got 3 sets of Scorpios, 3 deep reflective episodes, and then we'll move on with our other guests. So Don't forget to listen in. By large, the podcast drops on a Wednesday morning at 7:15. It's available on all podcasting apps. And don't forget to share it with your friends or someone you know if you think an episode will help somebody else. Take care, everyone, and hope to see you soon. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Connection Compass podcast. If you think this episode will help someone, please leave a review. And remember to keep talking, keep connecting for a more interconnected world.